Are we about to see something we haven't seen in almost 100 years? Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Popped Up Podcast. We've got 3 today. We have the return of the lovely D. We
That's me.
have our favorite fill-in on the podcast, Gosmal, and I am Chris. I will be your tour guide today through whatever the fuck the Stanley Cup Finals is. So
Fair. That's an accurate portrayal.
we are recording this right now, after Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Finals. We watched the second and third periods together. What are we thinking right now? What's the start here of our thoughts from that game?
Disappointment.
They must have listened to last week's episode to what we said, Chris.
Oh, listen to us bitch them out for
they
like
honestly
15
like
minutes?
Game 4 and 5, the blowouts that they've had. Like Game 4, they were up 8-1.
They were
8-1,
8-1.
Where the hell did that come from?
They woke up.
Yeah.
By the way, for those that don't know, in this playoffs alone, the Oilers are 3-0 when it comes to facing elimination. They are now 4-0 facing elimination.
Crazy.
Isn't that fucking wild?
I mean, I want their luck to run out, but that's a personal thing. Just because I want to be right. Although I guess technically their win tonight
Is
gets me
helping
one
you
step
have an
closer
opportunity to
being
be
ultimately right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I should be happy.
Because Maul,
Maybe I
you
shouldn't be
said
disappointed.
you and I both said Edmonton in 7, right?
I said Edmonton 6. So
6. All right, so I said Edmonton in 7, and we still haven't even heard from Dave yet on what
So
Dave
I'm wrong
picked.
already. I'm done.
Yeah, already you're wrong.
Yeah.
I still have a chance of being right, and Chris still has a chance of being right.
Yes. I mean,
and then who knows about Dave?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I know who Dave picked. I just don't know the length of time.
Yeah.
Although I'd be really upset if Dave picked it right again.
I mean, I hope that he picked it right and it's the same right as my right. Then
yeah,
I won't mind as much.
And then that's 2 rights, and then you just need 1 more to make a left.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Anywho, we're gonna start things off with a little PWHL action.
Yes. We have lots of PWHL action.
Take over, because the last couple weeks I was respect for
you
all
make
the
a very poor D. Yeah.
Yeah, you read way better than I do out loud.
It wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, listening to myself struggle was so entertaining.
Well, we do have the results of the awards in the PWHL, so we're going to start there. Starting off with the winner of the MVP. For those of you who don't know the lingo, that's most valuable player. Most valuable player award and forward of the year both went to Natalie Spooner of PWHL Toronto.
Wow.
Spooner is a 33-year-old from Scarborough, Ontario, and led the league with 20 goals and 27 points in 24 games for a league-high points per game average of 1.13. Finalists for both awards were Alex Carpenter and Marie-Philippe Poulin. Next, we have the Defender of the Year, Erin Ambrose of PWHL Montreal. She is a 30-year-old from Keswick, Ontario, recorded 18 points in 24 games, including 14 assists, which tied her for the league lead at her position. Finalists for the award were Megan Keller and Ella Shelton. Goalie of the Year went to Kristen Campbell from PWHL Toronto. She is a 26-year-old from Brandon, Manitoba. Sorry, I have such little contact with Canadian territories, and I'm like, we don't have any states that are NB. What the fuck is this?
Manitoba.
Anyway, shout out to Manitoba. Anyway, she led the league with 16 wins, including 3 shutouts, while posting a goals against average of 1.99 and a save percentage of 0.927. Finalists for the award were Aaron Frankel and Corrine Schroeder. Rookie of the Year went to Grace Zumwinkle, surprising nobody. She is a 25-year-old from Excelsior, Minnesota. She led her team in scoring with 11 goals and 19 points in 24 games, which tied for the lead among first-year professionals. Finalists for the award were Emma Malte and Alina Mueller. Coach of the Year went to Troy Ryan of PWHL Toronto. He is a native of Spryfield, Nova Scotia, and he coached his team to first place in the regular season standings with a 13-4-0-7 record. As a reminder, PWHL tracks both overtime wins and overtime losses, which is why there are 4 numbers. Powered by an 11-game winning streak and a plus 19 goal differential. The other finalists were Corey Chevery and Courtney Kessel. Shout out to her brother. Also, the Hockey for All award presented by Scotiabank went to Maureen Murphy. Maureen is a 24-year-old from Buffalo, New York. She volunteered more than 200 hours at several Montreal organizations where she and her dog Bean helped elderly people cope with and recover from various physical and mental conditions through pet therapy. She also volunteers for Miriam Home in Montreal, where her team is based out of, the Canadian Red Cross, and the North American Elite Girls Hockey Program. This award recognizes the player who had the greatest impact in their community during the season. So again, that is the Hockey for All award.
So I think Courtney Kessel is married to Phil Kessel's brother. If I'm correct, that's his. Yeah, that's his sister-in-law. Amanda Kessel is his sister.
Still, shout out to your brother. I consider sister-in-laws and brother-in-laws
That's fair.
Brothers and sisters.
That's fair. I'm pretty sure.
But yeah, we can add the in-law in
I'm
there.
pretty sure Amanda is like front office for the. Oh yeah, she's a front office exec for the Penguins. So shout out to the Kessel family.
Right? Just a hockey dynasty over there.
Oh hell yeah.
They also named the All-Star teams. So the first All-Star team is Alex Carpenter of New York, Marie-Philippe Poulin of Montreal, Natalie Spooner of Toronto, Ella Shelton of New York, Erin Ambrose of Montreal, and Kristen Campbell of Toronto. Second All-Star team is Brianne Jenner of Ottawa, Sarah Nurse of Toronto, Grace Zumwinkle of Minnesota, Renata Fast of Toronto, Megan Keller of Boston, and Aaron Frankel of Boston. And the all-rookie team is Emma Malte of Toronto, Alina Mueller of Boston, Grace Zumwinkle of Minnesota, Ashton Bell of Ottawa, Sophie Jacques of Minnesota, and Emma Soderberg of Boston. So those are the updates that we have about all the awards coming out of the PWHL. We also did get some draft updates as they held their draft, I believe, June 10th. I don't know. It was while I was out, so...
Yeah, I did mention that the draft happened, and I did mention the first pick. I do want to say, like, if we go back a month or maybe 2 months, I'm sure there's footage of you and I going, well, Natalie Spooner is going to win the MVP.
Oh, I'm sure.
That's why I was like, who's surprised there?
Yeah.
Not me. No, I'm not surprised at all.
Some fun facts about the PWHL draft was that there were 42 players selected, including 24 forwards, 15 defenders, and 3 goaltenders. 28 players were selected from the NCAA, 13 from professional teams, and 1 from U Sports. So happy to see that NCAA players are now starting to enter into the PWHL because that had not happened previously. The 13 professional players were represented through 4 leagues, including the SDHL, the PWHPA, the PWHL, and the ZHHL. I don't know what that stands for.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah.
The first thing that came to my mind is
countries.
Zimbabwe, and that's not.
That's not it at all.
It's not it.
7 countries represented, including 20 players from the US, 13 players from Canada, 3 players from Czechia, 2 players from Finland, 2 players from Sweden, 1 from Austria, and 1 from Russia. So happy to see that we are starting to bring in other countries as well, and that it's not just all a US and Canada-based organization. 18 players have senior national team experience. The 10 states that are represented by US players are Minnesota with 5 players, Wisconsin with 3, California with 2, New York with 2, Ohio with 2, Texas with 2, Illinois with 1, Michigan with 1, North Dakota with 1, Pennsylvania with 1. Crazy to see North Dakota mentioned in anything.
Yeah, you kind of forget.
That's wild. Yeah, right. The 13 Canadian players represent 6 provinces, including 6 people in Ontario, 3 in Alberta, one from British Columbia, one in Manitoba, one in Nova Scotia, and one in Quebec.
Ooh,
And then the stat that hurts the most is the number of players that were born in the year 2000 that we saw enter this draft, with 12.
that's wild.
Yeah. 14 in 2001 and 3 from 2002. Only one player that was in this draft was from my birth year of 1991. So shout out to whoever that is. How
I
are
know
your knees?
I'm a year
Please let me
behind
know.
you.
Yeah.
You're muted, bud.
Oh, I can't hear you.
Awkward. The ZHHL is the Chechnya Hockey League, which is Russia's all-women hockey league.
There you go. Thank you.
All
That's
right.
helpful.
Their logo is friggin' amazing.
I bet it is.
It looks
Love
cool as hell.
And then we just had one last major announcement coming out of the PWHL, which is that we have had the first ever retirement notice from a player within the PWHL. Crazy to think that we're a year in and already someone is retiring. Sophia Kunin is that player. She played for PWHL Minnesota, as they still do not have not yet announced a team name. So I guess she wanted to go out on a high note. She did not say the reasons. She just said that the game of hockey has brought her so many unforgettable memories and experiences that she is ready and excited to move on to the next chapter in life. She did note very importantly in here that Luke, her husband, was also playing professional hockey this year as well. And with that came months of long distance, hours of phone calls, and a great deal of understanding and sacrifice. Thank you for supporting my dream and cheering me on every step of the way. I would not be surprised if part of this is just it's hard to have a family with 2 professional athletes
Yeah.
traveling as much as hockey requires you to travel.
It's like, he plays for the Sharks.
Just because of the distance.
Luke Kunin plays for the Sharks,
Yeah.
so
Mm-hmm.
it's funny. It's funny you mention that because, like, yesterday I was playing NHL 23 and I fought Luke Kunin.
Did you
Nice.
win?
Or not NHL 23, NHL 24. No, I fought him twice and I lost both times, which is weird because I don't usually lose fights, but here we are. Especially when I'm playing with a 6'9" Russian dude named Ivan. Anyway.
Kunin is a Wayzata, Minnesota native, not born, and she was a 60th overall draft pick in the inaugural season. She played 24 games for Minnesota this season and recorded just 3 points, 2 goals, and 1 assist. She even scored a goal in her debut,
which is epic.
So, yes. Her husband also was formerly a Wild star, a Wild player, so I'm sure Danger is familiar with the Kunins.
I imagine.
I would imagine. But we wish her the very best with whatever she goes into next.
Hell yeah.
And way to go out after winning the biggest, award there is in PWHL hockey.
Yeah.
So that's awesome for her.
Go out a champion. Like Peyton Manning. Just win it all with a bounce.
Tom Brady, one of the times he retired, right?
Yeah.
Did he retire? Yeah, because he retired after the Super Bowl with the Bucks, and then he came back, and they did make the playoffs, and they got manhandled, and he was like, "Nah, I'm good."
Yeah.
You're like, "Nah, dude."
He's like, on second thought, maybe that retirement was pretty sweet.
Well, I know it's a little off topic, but Robert Kraft offered him a deal to come back to the Patriots for 1 day so he could retire officially as a Patriot. And Tom Brady was like, nah, I'm all set.
That's interesting. I feel like I would have taken that.
I wish he would have, because, as a New Englander and a longtime Brady fan, it would have been nice for him to retire with the team that took a chance.
Right. That's surprising.
They did just retire his number.
Right, but I think that was going to happen regardless.
Yeah,
but it
he
would have
didn't
been
retire.
Nice if they could have retired him and his number.
Yeah.
Right.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think there's something special in that, and being with the organization when you make that announcement, which is honestly why I think we haven't seen Braden Holtby make an announcement about him officially being retired yet. As of right now, he's still claiming that he could come back to hockey.
I
think he is waiting to do that. My suspicion
I think he's
is done. My suspicion is that he's done, but he's going to wait for Ovechkin to be done, and
And
they're going
then
to
retire with
retire not
Ovechkin.
together, but he's going to retire the same season as Ovechkin.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I
Yeah.
did see on social media today. They were talking about Wayne Gretzky and how in his final game of his career he drove his dad to the game because he said his dad drove him to all these games and tournaments and he did all this and he's like, yeah, I just thought it'd be cool. And he goes on the ride there. My dad looks over and goes, you know, you could play one more year, right? And then Wayne was like, he's like, I looked at him and I said, no, I think I'm done.
That's it, Dad.
Which is a good segue because he retired with the Rangers, and the Rangers just placed
Yeah.
Barclay Goodrow on waivers.
Which I was surprised. That came as a shock to me.
Yeah, I mean, so how it would work is there's an option to buy out the remaining 3 years if he's not claimed. Basically, what they did was they sent him down to the AHL, which is what will trigger the waivers. Because if you have a one-way contract, you can't go without waivers. Most entry-level deals are two-way, so they can move you
Right.
up and down. I mean, he had 12 points this year, which is real low for him, but like 54% in the face-off circle. That was
Not
pretty
bad.
solid. He had 8 points in the playoffs. I guess maybe they're trying to clear some cap to make sure they could sign everyone because that team is fine. Like there would be no need to break them up because what they're doing is working. So, that's very surprising to me.
I mean, it would keep him on their payroll for, according to this, 6 years, but it would not start counting against their cap until not next year, but the following, so the 25-26 season.
Yeah.
Yes, they're just hoping that by then they've won a cup and they can move some more assets around to cover that.
Because his cap hit is
So.
$3.6 million.
Yes. Yeah.
And
It was a 6-year deal for $21.85 million.
Yeah.
And 3 years, and they're like, you know what?
He's owed $3.75 million next year.
Yeah.
Because he made 5 this year. And then 2026, 2027, he'll be making 1.25. So, I mean, I'm sure someone will pick him up. Sometimes a change of scenery is all that is needed. He's only 29.
Yeah, we've seen that time and time again.
I mean, that's not the only move that was made either, D.
Very true. Philip Hronik just signed an 8-year, $58 million contract with the Vancouver Canucks this past Tuesday. It has an average annual value of $7.25 million. God, that's so much fucking money.
So much
money. Imagine.
Right? My life would be so different.
Oh, same.
Just 1 million and that you'd never see me again.
Right? I'd fuck off to places unknown for sure. The 26-year-old defenseman had an NHL career high of 48 points, 5 goals, and 43 assists, and was plus 33 in 81 games for the Canucks this past season. He also had 2 points, 1 goal, and 1 assist in their 13 Stanley Cup playoff games. He would have become a restricted free agent next month, but they snatched him up. They said this is something that we had talked with Philip about for quite some time here. And I think although we had his rights for another year, I think this is important for our team, knowing his contract number leading forward, and also a younger defensive man on the right side that we feel can contribute. We can continue to work with. Sorry. He was originally selected by the Detroit Red Wings in the second round. He has 205 points, consisted of 35 goals and 170 assists, over 390 regular season games for both the Canucks and the Red Wings.
Yeah.
He was acquired in a trade in 2023 and was in the first defensive pairing with Quinn Hughes, who is another person who's had quite a year this past year. So
his base salary next season will be $5.5 million.
Yes.
Good for him.
Again, an amount of money that I would fuck off to parts unknown for.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
1 million and you'd never see me again.
Yeah.
Facts.
That's it.
Facts.
All I need.
With
Which is fun.
$1 million, you can like put it into so many places and just be like always have $1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dogecoin,
Yeah.
Doge.
GameStop,
Dogecoin.
GameStop hedge fund.
GameStop. Fucking GameStop. Oh god. Oh, my back just popped in
Yeah.
like 18 different spots. That's not.
I wish mine would. That feels so nice.
Ugh. Um, Maul, you've got something you want to talk about?
Yeah.
So this is new news as of yesterday. So Florida is ditching their ECHL team, which currently is the Florida Everglades, and they're moving on to the Savannah Ghost Pirates, which are currently the ECHL team for the Las Vegas Golden Knights.
Oh.
And the Ghost Pirates are a very new organization. This upcoming season will be their third season as a franchise. And the reason this is happening is apparently there's going to be a new ECHL team in Lake Tahoe that
Yes.
is rumored that the Golden Knights are going to pick up. So
Makes more sense geographically for
now
them.
a lot of people thought that the Carolina Hurricanes being closer to Georgia were going to pick them up, but with how big of a following the Savannah Ghost Pirates have developed, Florida's jumping on that.
Yeah.
Now, what does this mean for the Florida Everglades? It hasn't been announced yet, but I'm hoping that that doesn't mean that we're gaining a team to lose a team,
No,
because that's sad all around.
they'll rock independent right now until they find a new team to partner with.
Which there are a few teams that don't have ECHL feeder teams
Yeah.
now. I personally feel like that's an important thing to have because
Agreed.
sometimes you can't pull players from, AHL.
Well,
And if you look at it, we have Carter Verahe and Steven Lorenz. They both started their professional careers in EHL, the ECHL.
Yeah, and
So-
Verhage is quite a good player.
Yeah, I would
he's
say
definitely proven
Carter
himself
Verhaeghe's a
a
beast.
lot.
So, like,
Yeah.
the ECHL, for those who don't know, is basically the US's version of the Canadian Hockey League. It's professional minor league for mostly younger players,
Mhm.
18, 19, that like level, college level players and under.
Yeah.
And that is one of the direct feeders to the AHL, which is direct feeders to the NHL. All 32 teams do have an AHL team, but only 26 ECHL teams are linked. And there's 29 teams. So you've got 3 independents. So if they are going to round it up and make a 30, it makes sense for them geographically, yes, I would say move it probably to where, it'd be easier. You don't have to send people to the other side of the fucking country to call them up.
It's to me it's very important and beneficial to have your feeder teams within the same demographic of your fan base.
Yeah.
Because that helps your AHL team, your ECHL team, that helps them sell tickets when you have to bump people down. Like, for instance, my local baseball team for the state, the Portland Sea Dogs, right? Mookie Betts, before he became a Red Sox, played there, and getting to see them in minors and move up and then move down. Anytime someone from the majors moves down, that sells tickets because people want to see that level of skill.
Oh yeah.
And making it in the same demographic of where you are or where your fan base is huge. Or, sometimes if you go outside of that, you can spread your fan base and kind of reach an audience that you wouldn't normally,
Yeah.
So there's a lot of power plays that come with this, but I think it's interesting that this team has made such an impact in 2 years that Florida's like, yeah, you know what? We're ditch our team that's in the same state.
Yeah.
And we're going to go to Georgia and pick you guys up because you guys are phenomenal.
Well, and I mean, to be fair, Georgia doesn't have a team, so it's nice for them to get a partnership with a major city. And like Vegas doesn't make sense for Georgia residents to be like, oh, we love the Vegas Golden Knights. Your Georgia residents are either going to be fans of the Carolina Hurricanes, Tampa Bay Lightning, or Florida Panthers. Just geographically, that makes the most sense for them. So it is nice that one of them did pick it up. Again, I would have hoped, possibly for Carolina, to have been the one to step in, but I mean,
Yeah,
hey, if you get on it, get on it.
I believe they have two ECHL teams. Because I
Carolina?
believe no, Georgia. I believe
Mm.
there's one in Atlanta.
Let me see.
I could be
Is it the
wrong.
Atlanta Thrashers?
It's funny because I'm looking
That'd be
at
so
the
funny if it
website now, and
was.
it's changed because like the Newfoundland Growlers, they don't exist anymore.
They don't exist anymore. They
Yeah.
folded. Yeah.
No, which was sad. I mean,
Mhm.
the reason
Oh
behind
yeah.
that was like, I get it. You can't pay people to live in
Yeah.
Newfoundland and travel literally as far as they were to get into any game.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
geographically and financially for ECHL, it didn't make sense.
No.
You know, you're not selling $200 tickets; you're selling $28 tickets,
Right.
Yeah.
To
and
go
you're
watch
traveling
minor league hockey, you know.
right.
Right.
Yeah, they have the Atlanta Gladiators who play in Duluth,
That checks
which
out.
I'm pretty sure that arena share that arena with the Georgia Swarm of the National Lacrosse League.
Ah, yeah.
Yes.
One of
Um
my favorite ECHL teams to watch because they're brutal is Troy Riviera Lions, the team from
oh yeah.
Quebec.
Mm.
They are brutal powerhouses, and all they do is love to fight. It's awesome.
It is minor league hockey.
Isn't isn't the Stingrays the ECHL?
Yes.
Yeah, they've just had, I mean, recently 2 of their coaches have been promoted because Spencer Carberry being promoted, and then, um, Ryan, what's his name? Something Ryan. No, Ryan Warofsky.
Oh yeah,
Warsofsky?
something like that.
Who's now the San Jose head coach.
Yes.
They both came out of the ECHL division, and now they're both head coaches for NHL teams, which is
Well,
kinda cool.
we
So they
do
don't just
actually.
feed players; they feed staff.
They
Yeah.
feed,
Well, I
yeah,
mean,
exactly.
that's a great segue too to talk about the coaching changes that we've had. Obviously,
Yeah.
you mentioned the Sharks just added theirs. Um, the Columbus Blue Jackets just fired Coach Pascal Vincent. Um, they
Which
haven't
was not
named a
shocking to anybody,
yeah, they haven't
let's
named a
be clear.
replacement yet. Listen, that team was fucking awful this year.
Yeah.
31st
Yeah,
in goals against average per game. Their goals against per game average was 3.63. That is
that's bad.
real not good. And that's coming from me who's a Ducks fan.
Yeah. It's pretty bad.
Like that shit ain't kosher. So I mean, I get it,
Yeah.
you know. It's time to move on, time to try if you know, something else, see what they can get going. They do have a few restricted free agents.
Mhm.
I mean, I would make sure I'm signing Chinnikov right away. I mean, you obviously there's the question of if they're going to trade Patrick Laine. Obviously, who are you going to try to bring in to help Johnny Gaudreau?
They gotta get rid of Merzlikins first.
Yeah, he's too
He
inconsistent.
has an attitude problem that unless you're gonna, I mean, unless a coach is gonna get in there and really fix that, you just gotta cut him loose.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. I agree.
Not for a reality check.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Mhm.
I think it'll be interesting.
Yeah. And actually I misspoke earlier. Warsofsky is the 3rd Stingrays coach to become a head coach in the NHL, joining Jared Bednar, with
Oh,
Colorado Avalanche as well,
I didn't
also came out of
realize
that
he was a.
organization.
Oh, that's cool as shit.
Yeah. And,
Um.
Cale McLean is an assistant coach at the Calgary Flames, also out of the Stingray organization.
Oh, wow. All
So, yeah,
right.
again,
Look at
just
the
goes to Maul's
Stingrays.
point about how important the ECHL is, to the National Hockey League as a whole.
Oh, I agree. I agree 100%. Um.
Yeah.
I mean, also with the Blue Jackets, they did name their new GM as well. So
We did talk about that, yeah.
full house cleaning.
Yeah.
um.
That was it's Waddell who they hired literally, like, 2 days after he stepped down as a Carolina GM.
Yeah, we were like, the fuck.
I was like, yeah, literally just announced his retirement, and then he was like, "JK, I'm going to Columbus, baby." And I was like,
I will
"Fucking
say
why?"
hockey is probably the most aggressive sport with firing head coaches.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
just like, you're not performing, get out.
Yeah,
Bye.
like mid-season.
See you later. You suck.
Yeah,
Bye.
2 months into the season, they're like, you know what? We're done with you. Get out of here.
Yeah, and it's
Shit's
like
on the curb.
that's crazy because it's like you think about it, like I'm
Yeah.
sitting here while we're talking about this, and I'm like, I can't think of any other sport that cycles through as many coaches as hockey.
Yeah. I mean, I can't remember the last time I saw in the NFL a coach get fired mid-season.
It doesn't happen much.
No.
Yeah. But here it happens regularly.
Yeah,
Like regularly. It's crazy.
it is crazy. You know what else is crazy? You guys,
What?
did you guys see the teaser that the Ducks just put out?
Yeah.
because I don't follow them.
Okay, so the Anaheim Ducks put out a teaser. It looks like they're doing a rebrand,
Mm-hmm.
and
Anaheim Turkeys.
it looks like that rebrand might be bringing back the original Mighty Ducks logo,
Oh,
I
thank
think
God!
so.
but
Yeah.
Thank God!
in black and orange. So no, okay, so
I think it could look good.
there has been a leak.
I want to see the
Or
whole thing of it.
There's a potential leak that's been surfacing the internet right now, about what the jerseys are gonna look like, and honestly, they're fucking fire. I'm in.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Like, I'll put them up on
God.
screen for you guys to
Yeah.
see.
No, do you know what it reminds me of? What was that cartoon with the friggin' hockey, the hockey duck superheroes?
The Mighty Ducks.
No.
Was that what it is?
Yeah, they had a TV show. It was the Mighty Ducks, and they played.
Okay, it
they
was
were
a cartoon?
superhero. Yeah, it was a cartoon. They played hockey.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They're
These
the only team in NHL
colors
history to have
remind
their
me
own
of that.
cartoon.
Okay. I was thinking of the other Duck TV show.
DuckTales.
Because there's another one.
Darwin Duck,
Darkwing
Yeah,
Duck.
Darwin Duck.
which reminds me of the purple.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the hollow eyes, the Jason Voorhees eyes.
Well, that's
We
the
can't see
original
anything.
logo, right?
I know,
Yeah.
and that's what they should stick with.
I don't know if this is
No, but
real.
it does look good.
I'm
It's a lot better
cool
than
with them-
Utah's.
All right, well, that's something we haven't talked about either. But like, I'm cool
Yeah.
with the idea of them doing it the way they're doing it. I'm cool with them also keeping the current primary logo, the webbed D, as like a secondary. Listen, I don't hate their
I'd keep it
current
as a-
look now, but like,
Yeah.
I get it. Time to do something new. Time to change
I think it's
it
their
up.
third alternate. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think they need
it
to get
is.
away from the simplistic logo designs because for a while there, every team was changing it to simplistic,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like I want the complicated logo designs because I think they look cooler.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
You know?
speaking of like releases and stuff,
Sure.
we didn't get to cover this either, but the Utah Hockey Club, as they will be known for the next season, released their uniforms for
they're
the
so
upcoming
bad.
season.
So bad.
Honestly, I like them. They're plain. I like the color scheme.
I do like the colors. I hope they keep those.
I don't understand why they couldn't have picked a name.
I mean,
Apparently
I guess the main reason I don't like the colors is because that's the same color scheme as UMaine Black Bears. And when I see those colors, I think of the Black Bear and how badass that looks. And then it's now Utah Hockey Club.
And no one else allowed to have those colors.
Yeah.
Well, not
they
do
did-
them wrong as that.
They did give the colors fun names though. They call it Rock Black, Salt White, and Mountain Blue.
Haha, playing on the Salt Lake. Haha.
Yeah.
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 Did you
I
figure
mean,
that
I
out all
think-
by yourself, bud?
Thanks.
I mean, it's boring for now, but I think we weren't going to get anything interesting until they picked between what was it? The Utah Yetis or what
There
the
was a
fuck
bunch
ever.
of them. One of them was literally Utah Hockey Club.
I
And
don't think
was
they're
like-
keeping that though.
I was like, no, that's one of the finalists for the names.
No fucking way.
Yeah,
They could have
that's
been the
one of their
Wildcats
finalists.
and had Troy Bolton as their mascot. We went over this.
Yeah, I mean,
That's fair.
as long as it's
They
not.
could have done.
I think I mentioned this earlier in the season when we announced that, or when it was announced that they were relocating. I was like, as long as we don't have another Rocky Mountain Extreme situation, which for those that don't know is almost the fucking name of the Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah. That is pretty lame.
Yeah, but I feel
The
like
Utah Yetis, though, sounds fun,
it does.
Dude, their mascot would be awesome. Can you
right?
imagine him driving around on the ice on a 4-wheeler, shooting t-shirt cannons, doing
I
Yeti
mean,
screams?
he could
Awesome.
absolutely rival
I
Gritty
was just
and
gonna
Bowie in
say
terms
that
of
too.
crazy.
He could totally rival Gritty.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's
I think
anything
that
more
that's
perfect for the city of Philadelphia than to have Gritty as their mascot.
I fuck with Gritty so hard, as we all
See,
know.
I just don't like Gritty.
I fuck with him so hard. I love it.
So, I think it's time we circle back to what we were talking about at the
What were we
beginning of
talking
the
about?
show with the Stanley Cup Finals.
Oh,
Ugh.
that's right, because those aren't over yet. Thanks,
Yeah,
Oilers.
those are not over yet.
Boo.
Game 5 wrapped up a little bit ago. The Edmonton Oilers won 5-3. I would talk about a little bit of the stats here. Face-off percentage again. The Panthers just keep dominating on the face-off circle. 12 penalty minutes today. They led massively in the hits columns. But when it came to protecting the puck, the Oilers had 24 blocked shots. Obviously, 2 for 5 on the power play, which is important. What did you guys think? Maul, we'll start with you. What did you think as we were watching that game?
It was nice to see some good cup hockey.
Yeah.
Finally. The Oilers showed up, they laid it on the ice, and they proved to us that they deserve to be there.
Yeah, I would say. D, what do you think?
Yeah. Bitter because I wanted it to be over tonight. Just kind of want to wrap it up, but it does give me a chance to be right next week, so that's nice.
Yeah, you did predict Florida in 6.
I did predict for the Florida in 6. I think the insane fucking blowout that Florida or that Edmonton had on Saturday
game,
night, I guess
yeah.
it was. I think that really rocked Florida's confidence. I mean, they had been coming in and, sweeping up. And then to get blown out the way that they did. I think today we saw a lot of unforced errors from Florida that we didn't need, like a lot of blatant trips that were unnecessary, hooking, all that kind of stuff.
Matthew Tkachuk clearly embellishing a fucking hook.
Uh-huh. So I think from that perspective, that has made this more of a contest for Edmonton. I think Edmonton deserves to be there. A lot of people want to see them win, including my dad. He's very much excited because it's been how long since a Canadian team
31
took it
years, and
home?
it's been 35 since the Edmonton Oilers won one.
Yeah. So he's like, "No, root for the underdog." And I'm like, "Well, it's just funnier to not right now." Just ultimately. But it was good hockey. The last couple of minutes we were watching together, especially, and when Florida pulled their goalie, Maul was like, "Oh, this is it. They're done. That's 2 more goals. Game over. Good night." And I was like, "No, there's no fucking way. They'll be fine." They did get 1 more goal. And it was the most insane goal
Oh my
ever
God,
because
yeah.
Tkachuk had the save of his fucking life.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, knocked it out, goes into the net, should have had his mouth guard in because maybe, that would have helped a little bit, but instead he's fucking chewing on it like a pacifier.
Literally like shades of Jordan Martinook earlier in the cup or
Yeah.
in the playoffs.
That's the second time we've seen a save like this during
Just
these
laying it out.
playoffs, and that's
It was
awesome.
insane, and so he sweeps it out, and unfortunately, none of his fucking teammates are there and are able to retrieve the puck and get it out of danger, and so I don't even remember who it was at this
Guess who it
point.
bounced to? A one Connor
Oh,
McDavid.
Connor McDavid. That's right. And so he just fucking nets it, man. And it was one of those things where it was like, "Oh my god, no way, you're so hyped about the save." And then it's like, "Oh my god, no way," because now it's a fucking goal. And
Now
it
it's a
was just
goal.
an insane way to end it with, like, what was it, like 8 seconds left or something crazy like that?
Yeah. Also, shout out to Corey Perry. Who's the only player in NHL history to score a goal in the Stanley Cup Finals with 4 different teams?
Wow.
And
Good for
I
him.
think it might be 5 now, actually.
Yeah.
How many Stanley Cups has he won?
He has 1. He won it with the
Okay.
Anaheim Ducks in 07.
Okay, at least he has
Yeah.
one. All
He's
right,
the
that's
only-
good.
he's the only player in the Stanley Cup Finals right now that has a Stanley Cup. Which is wild.
So-
But that's
to think
insane.
about.
That's an insane stat.
So I think if you look at the stats from tonight's game compared to not game 4, but game 1 through 3, right?
Yeah.
The biggest improvement we saw was on Edmonton, and it was their penalties.
Yeah.
You know, they went from high penalty minutes. I mean, game 2, they had 42 minutes worth of penalties. They had 8 minutes this game. That's it. And
Yeah.
Staying
in
out of the
those
box
8
helps.
minutes, they capitalized
Staying out of the box
on,
helps, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Florida's been consistent with like 10 to 15, and they averaged 12.
Except for game 2.
But Oilers were able to finally capitalize on those penalties and stay out of the box.
Well,
that
I
was
mean,
the
they
biggest
started
thing
the
we
game
talked
off
about,
with a
right?
shorthanded goal,
Yeah.
too. Edmonton did.
But like that was the biggest thing we talked about, right? That was really going to be the factor here between both teams is how can you stay out of the box? How can you keep yourself in a position to have an advantage? Because let's be real. First off, none of us expected this start out 3-0. None of us expected this to now go to a game 6.
I mean, one of us expected a game 6, to be fair.
Well,
yeah.
we both did, just opposite teams.
I'm the only one that
that's
said
true.
7. And again, we don't know
Yeah.
what Dave said.
Yeah.
But like this season has been insane. The playoffs have been insane, but we're on track to see something that hasn't happened in 82 years. There is a legitimate chance for the Edmonton Oilers to bounce back from a 3-0 deficit, which hasn't happened since the 1942 Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yep.
Like,
Against the Detroit Red Wings.
Yeah, against the Detroit Red Wings. Which, if you're thinking about two teams that have done a lot in the Stanley Cup
history.
Finals, and just hockey history in general.
I'm looking back at the stats from game 4 where Edmonton won 8-1. They had 8 minutes of penalty. Florida again had 12 minutes.
Yeah.
So they're consistent.
Discipline.
And from what we can see from games 1 through 3 versus 5 or 4 and 5, the biggest thing that Edmonton changed was their penalties. And now they're not giving up those easy points.
Yeah.
Also, Sergei Bobrovsky, before game 4, was on pace to have the best save percentage in finals history above Patrick Waugh.
82 out of 86 shots blocked.
Yeah.
That's insane.
In 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
And that crashed hard in game 4.
He got pulled in the second
5.
period.
Yeah.
He's given up 9 goals in 3 games? No, 8 goals in 2 games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
How do we feel like that has affected what we saw tonight? Like, do you
Bob's
feel like
performance?
Yeah, do we feel like there's some sort of shell shock now because no one's been able to do this to Bobrovsky at all this year, at least to this level.
He's been a wall.
He's rocked for sure.
Yeah. I mean, if that's what is causing some of Florida's sort of deflation, if you want to call it, that's really fucking sad. You know what I mean? That you can't rely on more than just your goalie to win a game.
Right.
Like,
I mean, do we think that this also has something to do with Connor McDavid finally, I guess lack of a better term, waking up in this finals? He was pretty non-existent for the first 3 games of the series. And then obviously popped off last game, popped off tonight, 2 goals and an assist. Do we think McJesus is...
So one of those goals is like, because it was against an empty net.
It's
like,
still, they don't ask how, they ask how many.
It counts. Yeah. But if we're talking about like, he finally found it, 2 goals, it's like, 1 and something.
He's got 8 goals this I believe in the postseason so far, which is, I mean, for him, I don't even want to know how many assists because he's a beast. But do we think McDavid finally like starting to, I guess, wake up? Do we think that's actually fueling this freight
Well,
train that
it's
is the
hard for
Oilers?
him it's hard for him to be awake when, like you said, they had 40 some penalty minutes. You
Yeah,
can't be awake when you're constantly having to play man down and play defense.
right.
So he hasn't had an opportunity to show us anything more, at least in this run.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's that he's waking up. More so is someone in that organization stepped up in the locker room and was like, listen here, you knuckleheads,
Mm.
keep your shit together. Don't get frustrated. Don't make unforced errors. Don't be stupid. You know what I mean? And I think
Yeah.
that that is the biggest difference because then that does allow people to have incredible moments. We saw Connor Brown score a goal today, who famously he's had a tough season with his trade from Washington. He wasn't
Mm.
really fitting in there, and he's come to Edmonton has done great. And so that kind of those moments, I should say, um, shine when you aren't having to play defense the whole time.
Yeah.
Defense does win championships for
Hmm.
sure,
But also scoring a lot
but
of
you can't be
fucking goals does
okay.
too.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'll be honest, I wholeheartedly, and I know I mentioned this to you guys in the chat yesterday. Going into today's game, I thought that Florida pulled a Boston Celtics and threw the game because they were one game away from winning.
Mhm.
So they could bring it home, capitalize on selling out another arena, just like Boston just did,
Right.
and completely blow them out of the water. But
Yeah.
I think tonight proved that Oilers not going to lay down and take it,
No.
because I truly thought that game 4 was a fluke. Because how do you go from getting no goals to 1 to 3 to all of a sudden you 8-1 them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
That's a shutout. Where's the mercy
yeah.
rule in that?
I think
Right.
I think this has given the Oilers hope because
Yeah.
Florida's not indestructible anymore. They
Right.
found a crack in that armor, and they
Mhm.
very much so exploited it today. Do you know another
Yeah.
thing I noticed that was very different compared to the last few games? Look at the number of
They're
hits for each team. Look at how massively one-sided it was for the Panthers. That is a very
Mhm.
big indication of you're getting beaten on the scoreboard. So what you're trying to do is wear your opponent down physically to the later periods to
Yeah.
where that's going to help you score. And it's just a clean game
Which
for the
that almost
Oilers.
worked for them today.
Yeah.
Like, they were down early, they were throwing the body and almost came back. They were within 1 and
Right.
just could not close the deal again because they couldn't stay out of the penalty box.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Um I think this leads us into our question of the week. Which kind of piggybacks off of last week's question that we had. What do the Florida Panthers need to do to wrap this thing up? D, we'll start with you.
I mean, calm heads for sure. I think that they need to work a little bit better on their communication. That last moment where, again, Kachuk, hate giving him praise sometimes, but made an incredible fucking save
Yeah.
and had nobody there to help him out. Now, granted, it would have changed the outcome. There wasn't enough time for them to tie it after that.
Yeah.
But still, it's less demoralizing to win by 1 or to lose by 1 than to lose by 2.
Right.
And there's just a bunch of other moments where we've seen miscommunication from them throughout the last couple of games. Uh, I don't know what you do about Bob. He has been incredible, but clearly something is up. Uh, being shell shocked the way he was in an 8-1 loss, it might be you might start another goalie. I don't know.
You might have to
I
play
think that
Pickard
you kind of have to,
next game. Just
yeah, I think you have to see what that does for you because, hey, let's face it, if they don't win game 6, it's game 7, you still have a chance. Maybe you give
yeah.
him a rest because clearly he wasn't getting it done for you today as well. Not that it's all on him. I think there were decent defensive breakdowns that were massive. Again, starting the opening frame with an Edmonton goal on your own power play, so a shorthanded goal. Clearly, defensively, you fucked up.
Yeah, clearly.
So they got to tighten that up because Bob can't stand on his head for 60 minutes straight every night. He's clearly hit his limit with that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's we've discussed that to like no end when it comes to the New
Mhm.
York Rangers and how
Yeah, Eagle,
Igor Shesterkin's
right.
one of the best goaltenders in the league, but it's real hard when your defense is giving up so many scoring chances. You can't
Yeah,
stop them all. Um,
absolutely.
Maul, what's your thoughts on
I think they need to keep doing what they're doing. I want them to lose.
that?
That's not an
Yeah,
answer, dude.
that's not a good answer.
My answer, damn it. But in
It's not
reality,
gonna
I
be
think they need to get off their high horse. I think they went
fair.
into game 4 thinking that
Cocky
they
as
were going to
fuck.
shut them
Very
out,
cocky, yeah.
cocky, arrogant, not doing what they were supposed to do. They probably didn't rest well. They probably didn't. I mean, because that's a long trip to take, and
Mhm.
and they ended game 3 on a high note. They smoked them in their own arena, and whatever they did between 3 and 4 didn't help them. Whatever they did before 4 and 5 still didn't help them. So I think they need to do exactly what the Oilers did, and they need to have the captain or someone in the organization step up in the locker room and be like, guys, what the hell?
Mhm.
And seriously, Bobrovsky needs a break. Pull him from
Yeah.
next game, because honestly, the next game you're either going to win it or you're going to go to game 7. So honestly, take him out of the equation, give him a break. Not again, I agree with you, and they shouldn't completely rely on him.
Mhm.
But his performance went from S list to B list
Yeah.
in 2 games, and what the hell happened? We won't know. Maybe he's betting on them to lose or go to game 7. He's um gonna win some money on this, but I can't think of what explains for him to just completely flop as hard as he did out of nowhere, because
Yeah.
1, 2, and 3 was phenomenal, getting ready to blow some crazy stats out of the water,
Yeah.
and then 4 and 5 gives up more games than he's given up
Yeah.
all series.
I think the thing that makes more sense is honestly voodoo. That someone has a Bobrovsky voodoo doll somewhere and was I don't know, just making him lay down and take it.
Some sort of Papa Shango looking character. If you're a WWE fan, you know. Um,
But
I,
but honestly though, pull him from game 6,
I agree.
give him a break, let him rest, recoup, let him just
oh, I'm sorry. Their backup
find
is
Got back
Anthony.
in
himself
mentally.
again,
Yeah,
Mhm.
their
and
backup is
then
Anthony Stolars, who is a former
right, and
Duck.
then
Yeah,
worst comes to push comes to shove, you force a game 7, and he gives everyone what they want to see, a fight to the end.
Mhm.
Best case scenario, you win, and it's not because of him.
yeah.
Right. Yeah, either
Give
way,
the
it's
man a
not
break.
like this upcoming game is not make or break for them.
Right.
It really isn't. They
Think
have 2 more
about
bites at this apple.
think about what helped Florida get to this point, right? They did basically a full court press. They heavy
Mhm.
on the back checking, very aggressive on the defense. What did we see from the Oilers tonight?
Yeah.
Heavy back checking, aggressive on defense, and what did that do? That allowed them to open up a nice lead for a little bit. Obviously, Florida Panthers have amazing talent. Um,
Right.
but like I I feel like going back to basics for the Panthers is going to be the big thing. Go back to what was
And
working,
maybe
what's worked the whole fucking playoffs. Play that
yeah.
game because if you're going to try to go shot for shot with the Oilers have the best player in the world. You're not going to win that. We've all watched Connor
Right.
McDavid. You're not going to win that battle.
Well, and it could be that the Panthers are just tired. I mean, like you said, they've been doing a full court press for the last how many rounds?
I know.
And not
Yeah.
that Edmonton hasn't had it hard, but I do believe that Florida has had it just a little bit harder.
Yeah, I mean cuz
So,
they are going a lot harder.
And
yeah,
did they burn all their steam in the first 3 games?
There's a chance.
that could be it. So that means that as coach, you have to make a decision. Light practices, boys. You know what I mean? We're taking mental days more than anything
You're going to
else.
need it.
Reviewing tape, you're reviewing
I mean,
gameplay, all
the
that.
next game, it doesn't make or break it, right?
Yeah.
let your first line players take a break.
Yeah.
Don't put them in for 20 minutes worth of the game.
Yeah, Reinhardt played 22 minutes.
know?
Barkov played 21 minutes. Kachuk played 20. Forsling 24. Ekblad 22 and a half. Brandon Montour 20 minutes. Yeah, you're playing your top, and I mean, I get it. Like if you look on the other side, it's very much the same with the Oilers. Like McDavid played 24. Hyman also played 24. Evan Bouchard played 26 minutes.
But they have to. They're fighting for their lives right now.
Yeah.
Florida, they're not. Give those men a break.
Agreed.
Let them get what they need.
Yeah,
and
and
you will
if
see
it goes
them
7, it
perform.
goes 7.
And
Yeah.
you know what? If it does go 7, I think that it's going to be an advantage. If Florida, hypothetically, lets second string go and lets them take over this next game, if they win it, awesome. Good for you.
Yeah.
If they lose it, you go to game 7, but guess what? Your first line is completely rested, where the Edmonton's not going to have that availability.
Right.
No.
They're going to burn their players in the next game trying to force a game 7.
Yep.
Right.
And if it goes to game 7 and Florida can pull back their players and give them a break, I don't think that they won't destroy them in game 7. It'll be a shutout.
Well, so this really plays into what we always talk about on here is the importance of depth. Like it's great to have a top line that's fucking money. But if your third line can produce just as much offensive output as your first line, guess what you become? The most dangerous team in the league. By the way, I want to point out that there are 5 former Ducks between both teams in the Stanley Cup Finals right now.
Yeah.
5.
I mean, and you think about it, your second and third lines, they got to the NHL because they have skill. You know, sure, they're not,
they're not Connor McDavid.
No, not everyone's Connor McDavid. That's
players,
fine.
But they're good enough to be there, so let them play.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree.
That's the point of your second and third string, is to give the first string a break.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to hurt the franchise to lose the next game.
Look at two goals that came from Edmonton. Connor Brown and Corey Perry.
Yeah.
Neither of them are first line guys. Obviously McDavid and Hyman are, and they both had goals, but like that's the type of stuff you need. I mean, even Fogel having an assist, like there's plenty of room here for that depth to shine through, but I think that there's a lot to what you guys are saying with fatigue setting in for Florida. You can't go balls to the wall every time, like, and expect that it's going to be okay,
And now they're at the challenging part of the series where now they're going game for game back and forth.
Yeah.
So this is where we're going to really see that wear and tear of the travel and the time difference and that exhaustion take place. The next game, I fully believe that we're going to see high penalty counts because people are going to be exhausted and they're going to be making mistakes.
Yeah.
That, that's fair. Or we're going to see a lot of physicality, a lot of post-game or post-whistle activities.
Yeah.
I think we're definitely going to see that.
Some extra.
We're going to see tempers get out of control on Friday. I foresee that. The good news is that no matter what, by next week's episode, the Stanley Cups will be wrapped up, because if it does go to a game 7, it's Monday night.
Yes. If you guys want to get your questions of the week on the show, hit us up on our social media, hit us up in the comments. We'd love to hear from you guys. D, we had some pretty historic shit happen.
Yes, we did. So big news was that the NHL had its first ever ASL interpreted game. So the broadcasters were actually leading it all in American Sign Language the entire time. Very cool with the audio to show the fans' excitement. They had audio meters across the bottom of the screen to show how excited everyone was getting, because obviously the deaf community, a lot of them aren't able to hear that. So this is the first ever sports broadcast of its time. And they're actually doing every Stanley Cup final game in ASL on ESPN Plus and Sportsnet Plus. So this is not something that was just limited to the one-time thing. However, it was really, really cool. It was, hold on, I'm pulling up to that now. Um, it's first of its kind. Jerry Trainer is a hockey fan born and raised in Detroit and a diehard Red Wings fan. So sorry about that, who you're having to root for.
Mm.
Um, but it was really, really cool. It was very, very inclusive. It's something that we haven't seen um, a lot in terms of the deaf community hasn't been included in much sports wise. Or really entertainment wise either when you think about how long it takes for closed captions to come out in YouTube videos and Twitch content and in movies. But this was the main broadcast that it was on. So Jason Altman and Noah Blankenship were ESPN broadcasters following real-time play-by-play and color commentary entirely in sign language, um, which just it was so cool. It was so cool to see clips of. Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch a live broadcast because I was in another country. But it was just so cool to come back and see the excitement because it's a whole market of people who can watch sports. Let's not say that they can't, but they weren't able to enjoy sports the same way that others were with that
Right.
very necessary, in my opinion, color commentary from broadcasters. I mean, I think about how much joy I get from watching my hometown broadcasters talk and add their commentary to the game. And members of the community weren't able to do that because live broadcasting, closed captioning is such shit. Like sometimes the things that they say, because I often have closed captions on. I am not hard of hearing, but my ADHD causes me to need it as like a backup in case I
Yeah,
miss out on anything.
that's fair.
And so I have that on a lot, and I often note how terrible that closed caption is for them. So to have a resource for them available while they're watching the broadcast that is actively like talking about the game in a way that they're able to see and understand,
Right.
I just think is invaluable, and it's only going to make this sport grow even more tremendously because this is the first sport to do this, y'all. Like
Yeah.
this is the first sport to think about doing this, and I think that the deaf community will respond very positively to that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, I'm massively here for this. This is well, we always talk about hockey is for everyone, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, in the wake of it being Pride Month, like that's a big thing, but we don't talk about like hockey is for everyone in that sense too,
Mhm.
with people with disabilities
Right.
that are unable to enjoy the sport regularly. Obviously, people who have sensory issues. That's another
Mhm.
thing. The deaf community, that's big. So yeah, no, I'm so here for the NHL being the front runner on all this.
Yeah.
Like it makes the most sense, I would say.
Now, my question is, do you think that now that the it's been broken and it's been done, do you think we're
Yeah.
going to see other sports start doing it?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Because I
100%.
mean, the fact that it took till 2024 is kind of a shame in itself.
Right.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's nice to see it finally happen because
Mhm.
it's inevitably was going to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that they continue this and they make this just the industry standard. So when my kids are my age, they'll never know that there was a time when it wasn't
Yeah,
Yeah.
when
broadcasted
it
for
didn't
everyone.
exist.
You know,
If I had to take a bet on which sport we see it in next, my bet would be baseball. I
Probably.
see baseball as being the next sport to pick up ASL broadcasting. Because I think it would lend itself really well when you think about just how much commentary is in baseball because of how slow that game
Well,
moves.
and think
well,
what
and
other
that's the nice
sport
thing
is
is that
in
it's slow
season right
enough
now,
for them to
too.
do that. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it helps that they're the only one in season right now as well. You
Yeah.
know. But yeah, no, that's dude, this is super exciting shit. Like super exciting shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really excited for them. And Altman, who is the sorry, I've just lost my place in this article. He said this is about the deaf community being validated, being seen, and what we can do to create a positive impact and change for the deaf community moving forward, which I think that this is exactly what that's going to do.
Right.
Because it's just so, so cool.
Oh, yeah, no, 100%.
and
Yeah.
like hats off to the ALS interpreters because
Hmm.
that is hard to do. Like you're starting to see them a lot more at concerts, which is awesome.
Oh, I love it.
And like
Yeah.
watching them, like my favorite one was there was a video that went viral of an ALS interpreter doing Eminem
Yeah.
That's
and
insane.
And
doing
like
the
how
hand signs
intense.
for like was it Rap God?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
How?
People can't
I
even
can't even
say that,
speak
but you
that.
were able to do that.
Yeah.
Like
That's wild.
you
Yeah.
need to be making more money, damn it.
For real.
Right.
Yeah, that's wild.
No, and we've seen such a surge in that. And honestly, that's probably a little bit of where hockey got it from was how popular over the last year concert videos of these interpreters have gone because of their passion and because of how entertaining it was to watch
Right.
them, um, interpret live and do as ASL live in front of everybody. I think that that helped people realize, like, okay, people aren't like the hearing community isn't going to be quote unquote put off by this, which for so long has been a criticism as to why they don't put closed captions in movie theaters,
Right.
because they think that the rest of the world would be offended by it. And I think this proves that it's not. So I think that hockey and the NHL in specific are going to make a cultural change, which is just so awesome.
And
Hell
stepping
yeah.
up is important because it's one of those
Yeah.
things where it's like, for us three, we go to a game, we enjoy a game, and you don't even think twice about it,
Yeah.
right? And that's the issue is not having that realization of, oh shit,
Mhm.
there are people who can't enjoy this like I can
Yeah.
because of an ailment that they have. And it's like this is removing that barrier, which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Agreed.
No, I agree. I'm not aware of any injuries or fines. So I think we can actually skip that for
yeah.
once.
The only one I know of is that Evander Kane has been listed as day to day, but you guys probably covered that while I was out.
Yeah. I don't remember for what, but yeah, we did talk about
Hip.
it. Yes.
Hip issue.
So I guess that leads us to wrapping this bad boy up with our favorite segment of the week. Favorite segment of the show, which is the obscure NHL player of the week.
You and that damn button, dude.
He just loves it.
It's great. It is terrific. So our player of the week this week is a man by the name of Mike Antonovich, born October 18th, 1951 in Calumet, Minnesota. The left winger was the 113th overall pick in the 1971 NHL draft. He was drafted by the Minnesota North Stars. This week we do have someone who has played in the NHL. That's not what's obscure about him. He played 87 games in the show, 10 goals, 15 assists, 37 penalty minutes. Spent almost 500 games in the WHA. 486 games, 182 goals, 188 assists, 193 penalty minutes. He spent some time in other smaller leagues. In 2008, he became the mayor of Coleraine, Minnesota. After his playing career ended, he chose to switch career paths. He also represented the United States in 3 World Championships, and is currently a scout as well for the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Do you think he ran his mayoral career as a hockey coach with the same mentality?
I mean, I ask the same question when it comes to WWE superstar Kane, who's the mayor of Knox County, Tennessee.
Oh, jeez.
How do you run that?
That's who your mayor is.
Yeah, who's your mayor? The fucking big red machine.
Not Mass Kane. You settle down.
Yeah, he's corporate Kane now.
Imagine going against him in like a city council meeting
Oh
and he
my
puts you
God.
through a table.
He had a corporate gimmick too at one point. His name was Corporate Kane. They brought him back and he had a corporate style. So now whenever I think about it, I'm like, oh, it's just Corporate Kane.
And no one wanted to oppose him because they were scared of his choke slam.
Yeah, no one wants to fuck with Kane. Because maybe the Undertaker might come too. The
Fair.
Brothers of Destruction.
So same thing with Mike. Anyone who disagrees with him, he goes 1v1 me on the ice, bro.
Let's go.
Huh?
You want a
Huh?
scrap? I'd have a scrap. I was the 1982 CHL second All-Star team. Fuck you.
Come here, I'll show you how I got all my penalties.
Yeah. Oh, but I thought this was cool. He also fun little tidbit. You know the team that he played for in the WHA and technically the NHL when the leagues merged? The Hartford Whalers.
There you go.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fucking cool. I think that that's a great way to end.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm shoving that in there for later.
oh yeah, that's an interesting thing we could definitely talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for being here with us today. Hopefully, because this will come out on Friday, so that should be Game 6. So,
Yeah.
make sure you guys keep an eye out on Game 6 tonight. We will be back next week with more to discuss and crowning a champion.
Yeah.
Maul is going to join us for the rest of the season, which I think is super cool. Obviously,
Absolutely.
we wish Danger. We send her all the love. She's got some family stuff going on, so we will see her
Yeah.
back next year. But we figure I had so much fun with Maul while Dee was gone that let's just make it a 3-person show for the end of the season.
Absolutely. And now I get to join in on the fun as well.
Yes.
Since I missed so much of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any parting words?
Eat more tacos.
Correct.
Eat more tacos.
As always, make sure if you are watching on YouTube that you like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell, let you know anytime we upload new content. If you're listening to us on Spotify or any podcast platform, giving us a follow, giving us a rating, that helps us out so much. We're coming to close to the end of season 2, which feels super weird
Right?
to think about. But we will part with you, and as I like to always wrap this show up, peace, love, puss suitor, and we will see you motherfuckers next week in the face-off circle.